Blue symbolically represents the commandments of God. White symbolically represents purity. These are the two colors that have become the emblems of Even at the Doors. And the logo in the bottom right is the insignia that was designed and put into a template from the founder. What exactly is Even at the Doors? Those 4 words are recorded in the Bible, in the latter part of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 33, when Jesus Christ was prophetically describing the most intense period in Earth's history. Its motto is, I believe that in the end the truth will conquer, a phrase that was coined by the 14th century English Oxford professor John Wycliffe, who taught his followers to think for themselves. And that is why Even at the Doors was originally set up as a blog website in 2010, looking at the world from a biblical perspective, and its mission, agenda, purpose and drive was to give people access to written material on current affairs, prophecy, health, history and archaeology, so when people are browsing the web, they can get material that wasn't readily accessible as solid sound truths were lacking. As the world was becoming a more and more intense battlefield, Even at the Doors wanted to step up the ante, but did not know how. Social media was seen by the narrator as a surveillance tool, so I at first stayed clear of it. But someone recommended to use it to my advantage, and the narrator was advised to set up a YouTube account. In 2012, the narrator was made redundant and used the redundancy money to buy media equipment that would expand Even at the Doors more effectively. That included a few cameras, and the Canon Mark III EOS 5D, a grade lower than this camera, was the best investment the narrator has ever made. From a child, the narrator has always loved nature and is just amazed at God's skillful handiwork. And this camera has captured some beautiful shots of animals for a future dream project called The Origin of Species. When studying prophecy, this camera has captured the Swiss Guards at Vatican City, the headquarters of the papacy, and African history, to show how highly advanced in art African cultures were when they interacted with Europeans in the 15th and 16th century. A GoPro camera was also purchased for a couple of hundreds, and one was able to capture some nice shots at the Louvre in Paris, France, in the Assyrian section, as well as in St. James's Park opposite Buckingham Palace, the home of the Queen of England. The iPhone also has a very powerful camera for a mobile cell, and it also looks very filmic, as you can see from this close-up shot of my fingers holding an ant in amber, as well as this giant tortoise from the Galapagos Island in England's London Zoo. While many may think there is a team of people, I, Adrian McQueen, does everything on my own. It just makes life a whole lot easier, except when I told a young man to film me when I was feeding sheep in Scotland. There is no cameraman, I film myself, and if the wind blows I have to run top speed to catch the camera, and I do this full time. I find all the locations to film around London, and I'm always looking for new spots. I have no studio. When filming indoors, I film in a living room next to a train station. I take the video footage and I transfer it onto my iMac, another investment from redundancy. And in my bedroom, I also write the script for all of the studies. Then I do the voiceover and speak as clear as possible, as I am aware that English is not everybody's first language. And what you receive on your digital devices for an hour or two can take up to 2 to 4 weeks to make. It is very tiring, but I enjoy it and never complain. And it is God's divine strength alone that sees me through. And my daily drive and perseverance is so people can have solid truths in their hands. As I've always loved reading, every book you see in each study is from my own personal library, and to expand my thinking from a teenager to this very day, I have read books that have made me racially conscious, health conscious, economically aware, biographies, ancient cultures, magazines on the intelligence community, and books that make me clued up on the laws of biblical prophetic interpretation so I don't go astray. I am indebted to the 19th century Scottish historian James Aiken Wiley, whose prolific research and writings helped me have a thorough knowledge of European history, and the writings of Edward Alexander Sutherland on the right and George Washington Carver on the left helped shape and mould my worldview. I purchased a 19th century book in 1998 titled The Two Babylons, and though modern critics may ridicule it, I took what I needed from it, and its foundation from reading its footnotes was based upon the archaeological excavations of Sir Austin Henry Layard. And any book I read, I look at the footnotes to see where that author acquired his or her data. And to expand my thinking even more, I have become a member of the British Library, the National Archives, the Natural History Museum Library, and the Wellcome Library. I visit libraries of different universities in England, and as everyone has a different worldview, I go into Protestant bookshops, Catholic bookshops, Islamic bookshops, occult bookshops, socialist bookshops, and comic bookshops. And while people may think it is a magnet for nerds, these comics, like this one called Lucifer, has been turned into a TV series cleverly downplaying the role of Satan and glorifying him. I also look at the news, and each channel has their perspective on the world. A Russian perspective, a Chinese perspective, an Iranian perspective, and even if they are corporate controlled, you can always get a nugget of truth from each one of them. So what is the future vision for Even at the Doors? I believe it is important that people have readily available access to different material, and so that people can have something audio to listen to. Even at the Doors want to put current and future studies on iTunes that can be downloaded so you have access to information on your digital device. I also want to put current and future studies on Kindle so that people have something to read when they are on their travels and on the go, or when they are in their quiet corner in their homes. I also plan to go overseas and film different locations and really expand people's thinking. One of the future projects I am working on is on one of the first books my parents gave to me as a child. It is on the Book of Daniel, the most scrutinized book in the Bible. It prophetically records 4 world empires to be replaced by a 5th, Neo-Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. And archaeological excavations have been confirming, to the annoyance of higher critics, that the Jews were actually in Babylon from that time period, as these recently discovered tablets confirm from the Iraq War. And this tablet in the British Museum actually records when Nebuchadnezzar invaded Jerusalem. Even at Doors has survived by people like yourself, and if you desire for these future projects to become a reality, and you don't like waiting a long time for my videos to come out, you can support by visiting this link, or if you're watching on YouTube, click on the link below. I really truly appreciate all the consistent encouraging words and daily prayers. They have been a blessing and an asset, and have helped greatly to drive the message home. So please support by visiting this link, because I truly believe that in the end, the truth will conquer.